In Carnatic music, these Gamakas also bring a lot of emotive appeal, and that is true for even Hindustani or Western systems. The ornamentation, the embellishments that you give on the notes. Otherwise, everything will sound like computer generated random frequencies, right? So it's the emotion that is brought out by these Gamakas that really make them absolutely a delightful or elevating experience for the listeners. Now, for example, in Carnatic, you can never imagine certain ragas without the correct Gamakas. Moment to do this kind of Gandharam. Versus when you do this, you can immediately know which is Anand Bhairavi, which is Bhairavi. Only by the Gamakas. Moment you do this, you will know that it is not Shankarabharanam. Even though the actual note that is different between the two ragas is Ma, the way the Ga is handled itself will eliminate Shankarabharanam from the equation. So that is the role of Gamakas. This is almost impossible in most other systems of music except Indian classical, whether Carnatic or Hindustani. We have to internalize and we have to keep thinking about it. We have to see different songs. We have to see how this Gandharam is used in Mukhari by different composers, different contexts, different phrases. How a Nishadam in Begada or a Madhyamam in Begada is having different roles depending on the phraseology. Why certain notes, even though they are Janyam of Shankarabharanam, for instance, why certain times the Gandharam in many ragas are rendered plain? Why is the Gandharam given a force in some ragas like Kannada or Arabi, even though they are considered to be Janyam of Shankarabharanam, which has a plain Ga? All these are questions for us to be contemplating all the time and wondering about it. Sense of wonder is a first and foremost step for progress and for self enjoyment. The more we wonder about the art, the closer we get to the art. It's like getting to know a person, right? You more you wonder about the person, you want to know more about the person, then you go try to get closer to that person. So I've known Manjuji for so many years now. So we have an established equation from the time he was about 7 or 8 or something. I first saw him perform at that age. So like that, it's like getting to know a person. So
and as you rightly mentioned, Raviji, if somebody asked me to name something, to name one thing that is probably the most important thing, one of the most unique thing about Indian classical music, and probably one thing that has given totally different shape to Indian classical music, I would probably say it's Gamaka. Needless to say, the Gamaka is probably the soul of Indian classical music, whether Carnatic music or Hindustani classical music. And uh, if you ask me, maybe it is only because of the Gamaka that Indian classical music has taken totally different shape altogether and is hugely appreciated across the globe because of Gamaka. As you rightly mentioned, Raviji, we cannot think of Carnatic classical music without Gamaka, number one. Every single raga, every single phrase, needs to be presented, needs to be articulated, needs to be felt only within the parameters of right, appropriate, traditionally accepted concept, that is Gamaka. Talked about the Gandhara. Gandhara being used in different ragas like Kannada as well as in Arabi. The same Antara Gandhara being used in both the ragas, whereas in Kannada the same Gandhara The same Antar Gandhara with the same, the Gandhara when we sing in Arabic, it is so negligible. The time we spend on Gandhara is probably the most minimum time. Sometimes we wonder whether it is ga or ma, ra, ra, ma, ma. These are re. As an instrumentalist, I always view this Gandhara almost close to ma, or it's very difficult to say whether it is am I playing Gandhara or ma. I'm very careful how much of time I'm spending on Gandhara, especially when I'm playing Arabic.
Thank you very much, Manjuji. Wonderful points you have raised, and I hope that students are understanding all this and taking notes. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer your questions during appropriate times when we will invite you to ask your questions. Meantime, can anybody tell me why is this called Gamakas? Can anyone tell me what it means? The term? Any
Sir, can I
student who
try?
knows? Yeah, tell me.
Samanvi, sir.
Yes, Samanvi.
Like I've read somewhere that the word gamaka has been derived from the dhatu gam, which means movement. So basically, movement of swarams. So that's what gamakas are. Movement in
Good.
the swarams.
Yes. It's either movement on the note or movement between the notes. Do you understand? So either you do the movement, that means if the note is just plain, okay? If you are doing Sari Shadjam Chaturshit Rishabha. If you do this plain, then it's going to be a different feel. It will be just pristine Re. Ragas like Karagarapriya, Bhairavi and all that, you will see that pristine Rishabham you'll have to be able to bring just without any movement. You have to bring a stillness over there. Whereas if it's a raga with this movement that you are giving on the note itself, it's a very minimalistic oscillation on the rishabh. There you are giving a lot more wider oscillation, right? This is only one type of movement. The kampitam or the oscillation is just one type of movement that you are giving to the gamaka. Manjuji mentioned about the 15 types of gamakas that Sharangadeva talks about, Panchadasha gamakams.
In terms pertaining to the art of violin playing in Carnatic classical music has taken, it is a wonderful shape now. For Gandhara, am I supposed to be using the finger which I'm using for Rishabha, Re 2, or Ga 2, or totally different one? Or am I using the same finger when I slide between? The combination, I'm really surprised that every single time for different combination, for different phrases, I tend to use different combination of fingerings.